Welcome to the first episode of 3's in a Pod. It's a brand new podcast, sports podcast. We got Trey Seidman over there, Jeffrey Schoon over there, Tyler Schoon over right here. We'll be coming to you every week talking big NBA topics. Today we got a packed episode. We'll be discussing some title award races, some Luka's dominant performance, and then we'll have a guest player at the end of the episode. But first, everybody remembers that top 75 list that came out in the middle of last season. It kind of got us thinking. We've been thinking about it for a while. Obviously, it's been a whole season. Thinking about like who was missed, who should not be on that list, and then like what our list would look like if we had created it. So today we're going to do that. We're going to start like a 3's in the Pod top 75 list. We're going to start today by ranking the top 25 first. And the next podcast will be 26 through 50, and then 51 through 75. So we're just going to work our way through it. Everybody has their own 75 list. We'll have one person that starts it off, which will be Jeffrey, I believe. He's going to say his number one, and Trace will say his number two. Obviously, if they have different ones, then Trace would say his number one second, just because you can't let that guy like fall down or anything like that. You don't have to stick to your list specifically. It's just like if your guy's up here and if your guy's up here and they say somebody down here, you're just going to say your guy next, basically. But yeah, we'll kind of explain why we chose each pick, if it's controversial at all, as we go along. So Jeff, if you want to start us off, go ahead. Who you got number one?
Don't think it comes as a surprise. Number one for me is LeBron James. I just think that his overall game is better than anybody I've ever seen. Anybody that's actually been in the game, I know. I saw this interview of Kobe Bryant, and they're asked him who would win between him and LeBron in a one-on-one, game. And of course, Kobe's not going to say LeBron's going to beat him, but he said LeBron is a better overall player than him. But that Kobe's a natural one-on-one player, so he'd win. But yeah, I think all around, nobody's better than LeBron.
I think that's an agreeable take on this podcast. I think we all had that same number one. I think outside of this podcast, you might get some arguments. I know Michael Jordan's like this god to people, so it's hard to touch him. But I agree with you. 4-time champ, 4-time Finals MVP, 4 times MVP, 18-time All-Star, all this sorts of stuff. And he's still playing at that elite level.
Should have way more MVPs. I'm gonna.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so should Kobe though, but we'll talk about that later too. But yeah, Trace, go ahead and hit your number two. Probably not controversial either.
At 2, I have Jordan.
Yeah, same. I think that's an obvious 1 and 2. My number 3, probably not super controversial. You guys might have somebody different. I went with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's been unstoppable. He was unstoppable for about 20 years that he was in the league. That unstoppable skyhook, one of the greatest moves ever created. Ever since he first stepped on the court as a rookie, he averaged 28 and 14 as a rookie. I think we won a championship his rookie year too with the Bucks. But also, like LeBron, he's been healthy though. He was healthy for his entire career. He only played 2 seasons that were less than 74 games. Only 1 season where he played 62 games. That was his lowest ever. Averaged 24 and 11 for his career. I don't see why he wouldn't be anywhere out of the top 5 at least. I got him at number 3 though.
I got him at 3.
Okay.
Jeffrey, go ahead and hit number 4, and you can tell us if you had something different there too.
Well, yeah, with me, I'm just a huge believer in that there can't be a big gap between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. To me, they are the exact same player. They could do the exact same things. So actually, I had Kobe right under Jordan. So for number 4, that's what I'm putting. Championship-wise.
So 4, yeah.
I think he had Kobe at 3, but yeah, he put Kobe at 4 because that's the next number.
So,
Trace, what'd you have it for? Did you have something different? You're going to 5 though.
See, my number's 5, but at 4 I had Bird, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him there. I feel like he's arguably one of the most pure shooters the NBA's ever had. Yeah, Steph is a better like 3-point shooter, but in my opinion, Bird back then he would shoot over anybody. He was tall enough to shoot over everybody, and man, in general, everyone was afraid to play him. He could shoot from anywhere.
So I will say that I don't even have Bird in my top 10. I know that's a little crazy. But
Wow.
I think that Kevin Durant is a better small forward than him. I mean,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I know Larry, and so if I have Kevin Durant as a better small forward and on the all-time list, then I have to move him below Kevin Durant, which is pretty lower. I mean, it is low, but yeah, Larry Bird I had high, but then I was thinking about it and I was like, everybody knows him for shooting, probably not even in the top 40 in three-pointers made. They don't have. I mean, obviously the game's changed since then, and he only played about 12 seasons. He'd probably be way higher on the list if he didn't play only 12 or 13 years, whatever he played. He had a good career though, three-time champ, three-time MVP, two times Finals MVP, but he's 36th in points. That probably comes from not having the long career that some people are having. But yeah, so my 4 was actually Magic Johnson, so I'm gonna put him at 6 with my 6th pick. I mean, he's arguably the best point guard ever. He was an insane playmaker at 6'8". I know Jeffrey says that Michael and Kobe aren't that far off. I don't think as playmakers, LeBron and Magic are that far off. Only his scoring, really. I mean, that's the gap though between 1 and 5 or 1 and 4, wherever we put him. I mean, he could guard all 5 positions. Won the championship as a rookie. Another guy that when he stepped onto the court, day one, he was a superstar.
Yeah, I had him
Uh,
right at number
Only
6.
played 13 seasons though, but he's already a 3 times MVP, 5-time champ, 3 times Finals MVP. Um, yeah, so that's just who I have at 6.
Okay. So yeah,
What were you saying about him? Yeah.
I had Magic at number 6 too, right there at number 6. Um, it's my turn now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so number 5 I actually had Bill Russell. So that's who I'll put number 7 here. I just don't think you can ignore his accolades at the end of the day.
It's
But
very true.
yeah, to me, yeah, that was an easy choice to me.
Yeah, it's tough to ignore those accolades. Honestly, he's somebody that I had forgotten about, but didn't really put as high up. Maybe it's because I did forget about him for a little bit, but he's
Yeah.
on there. He's just not 7th for me.
Uh, I actually had Russell at 6, so it was kind of close. So at my 8, I'm actually gonna have Tim Duncan,
Oh, that's a good choice.
Nice. Yeah, that's a
arguably the
good one.
best power forward all time in my opinion.
Mm.
So
Yep. He was another one that was great from his rookie season as soon as he stepped on.
mhm.
15 times All-Star, 15-time All-Defensive. Yeah, I had him at 7 actually. Um,
Yeah, that's what I had him with 7 on my list.
so my number 8, shocked he hasn't been said yet just because I think he's the most dominant player of all time. He is a 15-time All-Star, just like Tim Duncan, 14-time All-NBA, 4-time NBA champ. He's 8th in points, 8th in blocks. Shaquille O'Neal coming in at number 9.
I had him at my 8 as well.
Yeah, Shaq was number 9 on my list, so that's right in line. But ahead of him, I had Bird, and then ahead of Bird, I had Durant. So that's who's going to be
Okay.
next. Yeah.
Durant was actually my number 9, and Shaq was a little higher up.
See,
So
Durant's
yeah,
my
that's
12.
Durant being up there is pretty good. He's 15th in points and climbing. He could be top 10 by the end of the year.
Really?
Most efficient scorer of all time, in my opinion. 2-time champ, 2 times Finals MVP, and that could change too. 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA. Just haven't seen a 7-footer as skilled as he is, in my opinion.
No, never.
And he's a top 2 small forward, in my opinion. So,
So we're at 10 now, right?
that was number 10. So now we're on 11.
That was number 9.
No, I've been doing every third one. So
Shaq is number 9, and then Durant was 10.
yeah, so I've been doing every
Okay.
third one. So
Okay.
I did 9, he did
So
10.
my 10, I actually had Steph
You
at
got him.
10,
Okay.
so I'm going to go ahead and throw him in at 11.
Steph was my 10 as well. I
Best
had him.
best shooter ever. He's in the competition for best point guard ever. He changed the game in so many ways. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's a 4-time champ. He's only got one Finals MVP. That kind of
Yeah.
hinders him a little bit, but he's got 2 MVPs. He's 4-time champ, best shooter of all time. He's 42nd in points. I'm sure that it won't take. There's always that little range where he can bump up to like 10 spots in like 5 games because of how tight it is in
Yeah.
those. So I mean, I'm sure that's coming up soon if he stops getting injured. But yeah, he's been definitely top 10 with the way he plays and the way he changed the game. He's 11th though, right? That was 11.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my 12. I'm gonna go with one of the best defensive big men of all time. He's first in blocks. He's 12th in points, 14th in rebounds. One of the greatest footwork bigs ever. All these NBA players usually go to him just to learn some of these moves that he did. 22 and 11 as his career. He's got a MVP in there. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay.
Yep.
Got him at 12. I think he is one of the most underrated bigs. When they talk about bigs, it's usually just straight to Shaq, Duncan, and Bill Russell, Wilt, but I think that he's actually better than Wilt. I actually have him above Russell as well.
Okay.
I have him above Wilt on mine.
So that is number 12, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay. All right. Well, I had Wilt right there, number 12 instead of Hakeem. So we'll go with Wilt on number 13. He's the all-time leader in rebounds.
Yep.
Read right here, he had 55 rebounds in 1960. That's the record.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I had that written. I said that he's has some of the greatest stat lines you'll ever see. Literally, Luka's stat line last night, he literally had games like that every other night. Like, not the exact because Luka's the first one to ever do that specifically, but
Right.
he literally would have like 45 points and 40 rebounds and some crazy shit like that. So he's some of the craziest stat line. He dominated his era. Don't know how good the era was, but he's 7th in
Right.
points, first in rebounds. 13th is a solid spot for him.
See, 13, I had my personal favorite player all time. I had him put in the top 15. So at 14, I'm going to put Wade. He was arguably one of the most electric players in his prime. And his mid-range game and finishing was amazing. And then the '06 season in general was just amazing to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a really good season. That's one of the MVPs that I think might have been able to go to Kobe, but
Yeah.
it's a good little battle. No, I just think that I have him a little bit lower, but it was really tight right here. I couldn't decide between him and a few other guys, and I think I just ended up
See,
putting him lower.
I had Wilt at 14 right below Wade, who I had at 13.
Who I have just right above Wade, and this is what, number 15? This pick right here? Yeah.
15.
Yeah, I have Dirk Nowitzki.
Nice
He's
pick.
6th all time in points. I think
Yep.
he's the second best power forward of all time. You could argue Kevin Garnett, but Kevin Garnett's right here too. He's right around this area. But 6th in points. If you're talking about unstoppable moves like the skyhook, you got to talk about Dirk's fadeaway. He changed the game for 7-foot European softies. But he's definitely legit. He's got that championship too. Just all time guy.
Okay. All right. So I've been thinking about this one because this is about where my list cut off. Just because I haven't had a lot of time to think about it. But my decision here is Oscar Robertson.
Oscar's in my top
That's not
25.
bad
I
at
have
all.
him a little lower, but he's solid. He's up there. And that's 16, yeah. It's not bad.
It was at, yeah, that was
The
15, I
only,
thought.
no, that was the 16th. I always have the threes, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So when I come back, it'll be 18. But,
Okay.
yeah, I have a few players above him. I don't think he's the 3rd best point guard of all time. That's why I don't have him
Yeah,
up
very.
that high. Yeah, Jerry West I have more as a 2, but I like, obviously, Isaiah Thomas a little bit, and
Oh
John
yeah.
Stockton a little
Yeah.
bit, so I have them up above him, but I have
I
Oscar
had
Robertson in my
Oscar
top
at
5. So.
17.
Okay.
Well, I'm sticking
So
with
my,
him.
oh yeah.
I didn't really obviously get a chance to watch him play. I'm too young.
Yeah.
But just what I know about him, I know he was kind of like one of the first big guards. I think he came before Magic, right?
Yeah, he came when Kareem was. I mean, he was there when Kareem was a young rookie, somewhere around there. So he was there a few years before him.
Yeah, I just don't know how long his career lasted. I didn't get to look at that.
Now, when you look at triple doubles though, and like just all around numbers, he's up there.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
got
think he's up there
that.
in. I don't know how high he is up there in any of the all-time lists besides maybe assists, but
Well, I got a list here that has him put in number 12 overall, which I think
yeah,
is a little bit high, but I like him here at 16.
I like
solid.
it. It's
All
good.
right.
So my 17, I had him a little bit higher, but he was also one of those electric guys that was fun to watch. It would have been nice to see him actually win a championship, but I have AI right here at 17.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about.
It's very close to where I had him. I had him in the top 20. Um, yeah. No, he's definitely a generational player. Definitely an inspiration to a lot
Yeah.
of athletes. And it sucks that he kind of couldn't continue his career for as long as we would like.
hmm
He would have had a lot better numbers.
For sure.
I think he's one of the ones that when you look at stats, when you look at overall production and efficiency, that he might start dropping as the years go on. But there's no
Yeah.
doubt about his heart, his effort, and his inspiration to other players.
Think if
So
he just
yeah,
had the size of Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
for
was big.
18, I went with who I think is the top five small forward. He's one of the best defensive players of all time. He's got 6 rings. I think he is kind of underrated just because of his who he was played with, but I think he benefited Michael more than Michael benefited him, to be honest. But I'm going with Scottie Pippen up here at 18.
Hmm.
I had him a little bit lower, but yeah, he was in my top 25.
Oh yeah, he needs to be in the top 25.
Yeah.
So, what was that, 18?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Just ahead of Pippen, I would actually you put Dr. J.
So
That's who I had right there.
I
Yeah.
had Dr. J up there in the 25, but then I ended up moving him out. So he's actually in my
Oh.
26, 27 on my list.
Oh really?
But yes,
I had
I
him at
don't.
8. I had him at 18.
That's
Yeah.
solid. No, it's definitely an area right here where things are going to be all over the place. I think it's going to be easy to move people above or below. But yeah, I think Dr. J is definitely a little bit underrated. I think he had his best years though in the ABA. That's what hurts
Yeah,
him
he
the
did.
most.
He did. I was looking at his
Yeah.
stats. His best years came before he entered the NBA.
Yeah,
So that could be a knock on him for sure.
that's the only reason why I bumped him down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes, he's definitely pushing that top 25 list for me. So that was 19.
So at 20, I have Kevin Garnett. He
There it
was,
is.
yeah, he was a solid power forward, great at defense. When he was
He,
with the Celtics, his mid-range game was pretty solid too. But he was just a fierce competitor. He was always giving it all. He was going out there. A lot of people didn't like him on the court because he talked a lot of trash, and he backed it up. He was one of my favorites growing up to watch. I didn't like the Celtics, but I always liked Kevin Garnett.
I didn't like him because I felt like he was a dirty player sometimes. But I could deny that at least at one point in his career, he was the best power forward in the league. And
Yeah.
he was at least one of those seasons, he was the best player in the league. Um, and it was just like I agree with him being ahead of Karl Malone too. I have him ahead of Malone. I actually have
hmm
him ahead of Nowitzki too, though. But Nowitzki,
The power forward top five is so close, really. Really, the top three, in my
Yep.
opinion. Yeah, it's Duncan at one, but like Dirk and KG can be interchangeable.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
I agree. Um, Yeah, I like that Kevin Garnett pick. That was definitely one that I was actually going to go with next if he didn't get grabbed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the next guy on my list, which I think many people don't talk about, but he's top 10 in points. He's top 5 in rebounds. He played for like 20 years. He's a 13-time All-Star, 3-time MVP. Moses Malone.
Yep, that's who I had just a little bit below him.
Yeah. He was a beast. I mean, 3-time MVP. I know he played forever too. He's just dominant player back in the day. And I just didn't want to keep watching him fall down to the 25 or nothing, so took him at,
Yeah,
and he's also the next one on my list.
I would have put him in before that.
Yeah. 21 is what I have him at.
Okay. So you got Moses Malone at 21. I'm torn right now. I don't know if I want to go with Karl
Right
Malone.
here. Yeah, he's next on my list. I have him where I had, honestly, Jerry West is right about there too.
Because Jerry West hasn't been mentioned yet either. He's
Yeah.
needs to be on this list. But I'll go number 22. I'll go with Karl Malone.
21.
Dominant.
No, it is 22.
22.
Yeah. You said Karl Malone?
Yeah. Can't really deny it. The guy had a
I mean,
solid career.
he was the leading scorer until recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always been behind Kareem, but yeah.
Oh, I thought, LeBron passed Malone. Okay.
He hasn't passed Kareem yet, but he'll pass him soon. But yeah, Karl Malone was second until LeBron.
That's right, yeah.
But I mean, I was thinking like Karl has to be above John Stockton, and so
Yeah.
so I had him up there pretty high too. He was the next guy I think between him and Jerry West.
Yeah.
So go ahead,
So
Trace.
at my 23, I'm gonna go ahead and put him like we said he had to be in there, and it's Jerry West.
Yeah, got to be in there. Career average of 27, 6-6. He's the only player to win a
That's
Finals
crazy.
MVP and lose. Um, he's a 14-time
That's
All-Star
just
too.
that's just amazing to hear.
It is. It's crazy. And he
Like
also, I
even though you
mean,
lost, you won it.
yeah, I don't know how. He had to be just amazing. I didn't get to watch it, obviously. He had to be just amazing. Yeah, he has over 25,000 points, 23rd, I think, on the list. He actually made the All-Star team every year of his career.
That's crazy too.
And the biggest thing, he's the NBA logo.
Yep.
Not like, I don't think it's actually been stated, but, it's pretty much a proven fact. All right, so I'm on 24. I don't know if I can let this guy drop any further. I already said I think he's better than Oscar Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Isaiah Thomas right here at 24.
I had him just outside my 25, like 26, 27.
So now for 25th, do you guys have another point guard, Jeffrey?
Um,
Or are you going somewhere else?
I know where you're going. It's not. I don't have him at 25. I have someone else at 25.
25. I was gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna go with Elgin Baylor.
Elgin
Well,
Baylor's
I didn't
not
have him in
far.
my top 25.
He's not far out of my 25, but he's not in there.
He's in my top 30, but I had him just a little bit lower.
Yeah, my last one was actually going to be John Stockton. Just because he's the all-time leader in assists.
Sure.
He's got to be, I think he's
Yeah.
top something in steals. He's one of those tops in steals.
Yeah. And
And he's the reason for a lot of Malone's success. So
this is
that's
true.
why I had right around my 25. But I
See,
think
my
that's a solid
25
25.
to end it was Charles Barkley. I
Oh,
had him at 25.
he was right outside. Yeah, he was
Yep.
literally right outside.
He's another one I wish could have won a championship. He was dominant. Like
yeah.
a lot of people don't really think about him when they think about the power forwards, but he was solid.
Well, he was one of the first, point forward type ones too. Like he
Yeah.
could pass the ball, he could dribble up the ball. He was athletic. He can kind of do. He was like that rebounding wing, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So there goes the top 25. I honestly didn't just write them down. Jeffrey, did you happen to write them down?
I did, yeah. I was writing them down as well.
Awesome. Do you mind just reading out
Oh,
the 25?
Yeah, so the
thank
way
you.
we did it, we got top 5 shapes out LeBron, Michael, Kobe, Kareem. Or wait, am I having? Okay, these are not in order. Hang on.
No, it's all right. We can.
No, okay. I got them, the numbers, but they're okay. Scratch that. Number 1, LeBron. Number 2, number 3 was Kareem. Number 4 was Kobe. Do you remember what number 5 was? Because I don't have.
5 was
Uh,
Bird.
5 was Bird.
and number
6
6 was
was
Magic.
Magic.
7, Bill Russell. 8, Tim Duncan.
Yep.
9 was Shaq. 10 was Durant. And then 11, Steph Curry. 12,
Steph.
LeBron. Wilt was 13. Wade 14. Nowitzki 15. Oscar Robertson 16. Iverson 17. We got Scottie Pippen at 18. Dr. J at 19. Kevin Garnett. Moses Malone. Karl Malone. Jerry West at 23. Isaiah Thomas and Elgin Baylor finishing it off.
Awesome. It's not a bad list right there.
No, it's not.
And yeah, so that ends that segment. We can kind of move on to another segment. I know that we're kind of running low on minutes. That took a little bit, which we expected. That's why we only have about one segment and then a little guest player end of the segment. Or end of the pod. So we got to talk about it. Last night, Luka Doncic had a historic performance: 60 points, 21 boards, 10 assists. Something that we've never seen before. I had to go back and watch all the highlights. The dude was just not missing, just making some shots that he always takes, but I feel like he just wasn't missing last night. And then free throws help. Going up against the kind of injury-riddled Knicks help, but he had to do everything he could to will that team to beat him. So I don't know
That
if
shot
Jeffrey
to
got
go
some
into
takes on it.
overtime was amazing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
So obviously I watch Luka every game.
Yes.
That's my team. That's my dude. So I looked up some information about his performance last night just to see how it stacks up all time. Because he's already putting up numbers to situate himself as one of the all-time greats. So he's the youngest person ever to have a 50-point triple-double. That was the first feat because I know he got to 60, but it still counts as a 50-plus point triple-double. James Harden has done it. I think I didn't write it down. I think they said he's had 6 50-point.
He's done it. He's done it.
So,
That's crazy.
he's the other one though. That's had a 60-point triple-double anyway. There's been 6 players in the history of the whole 75 years outside of Luka that have 60-point triple-doubles. 50-point triple-doubles. Luka's the only 60-point with Harden. Yeah, Harden had a 60-point one. Okay, so Harden and Luka are the only two that done that. But the list
That's
of
crazy.
players that have 50-point triple-doubles, we have this Richie Guerin. I don't even know who that is. Then you have Kareem, Wilt, Elgin Baylor, and Russell Westbrook outside of Harden and Luka. So only the second player with a 60-point triple-double, the first ever to do 60-20-10, and then this crazy stat about it's not just about Luka, but he obviously willed the team to win at the end, and they were down by 9 points with 35 seconds left. They said in the last 20 years, a team who's up by 9 with 35 seconds or less has gone 13,884 and 0. So that was the first win in 20 years.
That's
And
crazy.
Luka did it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. No. I thought that was the craziest stat too.
Yeah.
I saw that, but I was like, leave it to the Knicks though, right? Leave it to them to blow that. It seems like something they do.
And it also, if you want to look at the other side of it, Knicks were without Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett left early, so
Yeah.
still the struggle against the shortened Knicks team.
Doesn't say
In
much
general,
about
like,
the
No, it
Mavs, but
doesn't
it
say
says a
anything
lot
about
about
Luka.
Luka.
It says a lot
yeah,
about his team.
even though Luka did all that, it's still like two of the clutch shots that came through was Woods' kind of deep three, and then Dinwiddie's three, literally with people right in his face. Those two
Dinwiddie,
shots were also
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie was huge in the fourth quarter, but they played like crap for like 3 quarters, and then they teamed up in the fourth quarter.
So with a performance like that, where does that put Luka in the MVP race right now to you guys?
He's at one for me.
Yeah,
I've said it since the preseason. I think that he's going to be the MVP.
it's
Yeah.
hard to put a number right now just because of the team record. It's tough though because I
So
don't
yeah,
even.
it doesn't. I'm not saying anything against Luka. I think he is a great player. I think he's probably top three in the league right now, and I think he's a top three candidate for MVP. I don't think he's number one because of team record, and because even if you throw, I mean, if you look at James Harden, he was on the Rockets averaging 30 something, 10 and 10, whatever the hell he was averaging. Um, you always took it with a grain of salt because you knew that he had nobody else. He was going to take every single shot. And again, it's not a knock on them. It's what they have to do.
Yeah,
But when you are that only player, it does bolster your stats a little bit. So that's the only knock that I have on Luka not being
right.
the top MVP candidate in the stand and in the team where they're at in the standings.
Same argument I had against James Harden for years going for the MVP.
Yeah.
So I can't
And
be biased.
then,
Say Luka's the MVP.
yeah. Yeah, so I have him at in the top three range. I know that they're looking at about six guys right now. We got Jason Tatum, we got Nikola Jokic, we got Giannis, we got KD, we got Embiid and Luka. Who do you think rounds out that top three?
So and I think Tatum. Tatum's probably my favorite for the MVP right now. Um, Followed by probably I'd say the next two are Luka and Durant. I just don't know what order to put them in.
That's probably exactly what I have. I think everybody's saying Jokic is having another MVP season, which he's having the numbers. Um, and they're saying that he's carrying them the first seed, and we knew what they could do back when they had Murray and Porter in the playoffs that one year, and they took them to the Western Conference Finals. We know how good that team is when they're all healthy. We've been saying this for years, so I mean, it's hard for me to just say, oh yeah, Jokic should be up there just because of the one seed when they've proven they can be good, and he's already had his years of MVP. I don't see him doing much better than he did last year. I don't know why he deserves a
Yeah.
third in a row. I don't see it. Giannis, I don't think that he's having an insane year. It's not bad, obviously. It's Giannis. He's going to have good years. And then I think Embiid's above Jokic, in my opinion. I'd have Giannis at sixth out of those guys, and then probably Jokic at fifth, Embiid at four, and then Luka three, KD two, and I think Tatum is in the lead. But I don't know. It's hard for me to really put it together right now. It's really tight. Really tight. Could be anybody's. Yeah, looks like we're down to the last couple minutes here, anyways. So we can kind of go to our last segment. So this is going to be guess the player. I'm just going to give you like what teams they played for, and you're going to tell me what player you think it is. If you're struggling and you think you need some help with it, you can be like, hey, well, what year did they come into the league, or what team are they most remembered for? Or like, I mean, if you can think of another question that's not like, tell me the answer, then you
Yeah.
can ask that too. Um, but obviously, try your best to do it without the questions or whatever you guys can do. But I'm gonna ask it next time. It can be, one of you two doing the whatever
Limited
segment you feel.
3 questions.
Um,
Don't get it. three, then
Yeah, if you guys don't get in a couple questions, but you guys should. These are all well-known players. So yeah, if you guys just don't get it, I'll let you know the answer. You guys ready?
yeah.
Yep.
Started with the Clippers, went to the Heat, then to the Lakers, then to the Mavs, and then back to the Clippers, where he ended his career.
I know
Was
this
it Lamar Odom?
Lamar Odom. Nice and quick on that one, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's
That was
Right
good.
when you said right to the
Good.
Heat, and then when he went back, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I forgot he was
Yeah.
but yeah.
You forgot what?
I forgot he went to the Heat before the Lakers.
Yep.
Yep. All right, here's
He was in
another
that
one.
trade. Shaq.
Here's another one. We got started with the Houston Rockets, went to the my fault. Never mind. Started with the Sixers, went to the Suns, then ended with the Rockets.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. Yep, he got it.
Yeah. I forgot about the Rockets with him.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was on the
Yeah.
Rockets now, so I didn't know if that was the answer. But
Ended with the Rockets at the very end there. Yeah, that's all I had. I only had a couple of them. Looks like we're right at 36 minutes anyway, so probably a good place to end it.